Hello and welcome to the Influencer Insider by Starfish Agency. I'm Anna Gijari, the head of influencer marketing at Starfish Agency, and with me here today we have a very special guest, Marcello Berg, the international PR, influencer marketing, and digital social media manager at Tarte Cosmetics. So thank you so much for coming today, Marcello.
Thanks for having me, Anna. Super happy to be here today.
We are also very excited having you. Let's dig in quickly on the questions. So my first question to you is, could you please start by telling us a little bit about your journey and how you got into influencer marketing and PR?
Sure. So I've been working within the PR and communications field now for 10 years now. I started in Brazil, and I started before Tarte. I was working for L'Oreal, so I started my career in Brazil, always within the luxury field. So I was overseeing three categories: so fragrance, makeup, and skincare. Then I moved to Paris to take a position there within the group. And then after 2 years working for L'Oreal in Paris, I changed it. So I moved to Tarte Cosmetics, the makeup brand, to oversee the PR, influencer marketing, and social media strategies internationally.
That's amazing. And how does your role at Tarte Cosmetics actually influences the way you approach the global influencer campaigns?
I feel that now we kind of have like a very large vision across the globe, meaning that we need to have like the same identity for the brand. And we can have like a lot of different nuances depending on the region. So I feel that now our objective, like my role specifically, is to make sure that we will leverage our brand awareness, but also be in contact and be top of mind with our audiences across the globe. Because we are an American brand, but we want to resonate globally and worldwide also, right?
Yes.
So I feel that when it comes to PR, influencer marketing, and social media strategy, it becomes like super important to, especially for a makeup brand, we are very digital, very visual. So
True.
PR, influencer marketing, everything related to digital is very basic and it's very important, very fundamental to our brand.
And from your experience, what makes a beauty brand's influencer campaign truly stand out, of course, in such a crowded space, actually, of influencers campaigns?
You always need to find like a different angle or twist it in a very unique way to catch your audience attention, to differentiate for a lot of brands. If you want to be remembered, you need to be seen. So we need to build even more relevancy in the digital space.
That's amazing. And how does Tarte Cosmetics identify and select influencers for their global campaigns?
I mean, of course, we have the beauty influencers, like traditional beauty influencers, but we are even more tackling to partner with makeup artists, also with micro and nano influencers to bring this kind of credibility for the brand, being where they are, so kind of playing in existing events to build this authority. And we really believe in the word of mouth. So it's really good when we have like a booming trend and we have this agility to make sure that the brand will suit the trend, for instance, and it will remain authentic. So for this, we always aim to partner with local influencers for sure, because we need to bring this cultural relevancy. So it's important to honor the identity of the brand overall, for sure, but also partner with different influencers to bring these different nuances for the brand and remain relevant.
You know, different brands actually have different metrics when it comes to influencer marketing. You at Tarte Cosmetics, you actually focus more on engagement metrics, content quality, or authenticity when it comes to or audience alignment as well for the influencers itself.
Really important to find a balance.
Yeah.
And of course, depends on our objective. For instance, if you are launching a new product, for sure you have like the awareness metric as something really important, like a number one KPI to see. But also we need to sell, right?
Of course.
We need to generate leads.
Yeah.
We need to generate word of mouth. So I feel that to have like a healthy campaign, let's say, when it comes to results for the brand, I always privilege to find this balance between, you know, awareness, views, engagement. Engagement rate is also something really important because it shows who is really engaging with your content.
Yeah.
So, but we also look, for instance, impressions, reach. But so I feel that we need to find this balance between quality and quantity. So of course we need to have like this very qualitative content, but also we need to have like numbers,
Of
right?
course.
So yeah, so I would say that we need to find the right balance to make sure that we'll have like the whole 360 and all the touch points
Yeah.
being touched.
Of course, that's great. Actually, all the brands right now are really using the trends that are emerging in nowadays. So, for such a beauty brand as Tarte, how you are leveraging these kind of trends in the influencer marketing, for example?
We have like this blush application trend, and we
Yeah.
have a lot of multi-usage products. So you can have the same product as a blush, as a lipstick, as an eyeshadow. So I feel that this trend, for instance, like you can have one product, three effects, or one product, three usages, they are even more like booming, and I think the brands they are paying attention to
Yes.
these trends.
Thank you so much for mentioning that you actually focus on the target market that you are focusing on, and Tarte actually you cater to internationally almost, yeah. So how do you balance to tailor these campaigns for respective markets, while of course keeping the brand message consistent?
Sure. So yeah, so we have like this umbrella, let's say, like this big umbrella with the brand storytelling, with our priorities when it comes to products, when it comes to portfolio. But we also adapt our strategy to follow and to resonate on each market.
Yeah.
So for instance, in Middle East, we have a few activations for Ramadan, for instance. During these giftable moments, we launch like specific coffres to gift. So we try to bring our fun, our playful storytelling,
Yeah.
and we try to build our local relevancy, honoring this identity because this is us, right? But also exploring these nuances from each market, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. Product gifting versus paid collaborations. What's your approach at Tarte? Do you actually use paid collaborations or product gifting? And what lessons have you learned from past campaigns?
I always believe that the influencer shouldn't post your brand or shouldn't show your brand because they're being paid.
Yeah.
For me, it has to be first because they love the brand, second because it resonates to them, and third because they had a great experience. So either if it's like a very nice gifting or a very nice event or a very nice trip, we need to kind of engage with them to be more authentic because as I
Yeah.
said, authenticity for me is key when it comes to influencer marketing.
Amazing. Let's go to some social media and PR integration questions. How do you ensure that influencer activations are integrated smoothly with Tarte's broader social media and, of course, PR strategy?
Our consumer is very complex.
Yeah,
So you need to make sure that will cover all these touch points. So either if you have like a nice article in press, it cannot stop there. Even if you can have like a very nice influencer marketing campaign, it shouldn't stop there.
of
Or you
course.
have a nice event, it shouldn't be offline. You need to make sure that the brand is very well developed in all these touch points.
Of course. And of course, when you're doing influencer marketing campaigns, you need to measure the ROI. So, what kind of challenges you are having when measuring the ROI for these influencer campaigns, and how do you tackle these issues?
I think the most challenging part on this one for me is to make sure that you know how to read the number, because sometimes we have so many numbers, so many KPIs, and we need to be able to receive those data and apply it for the next campaign. So it's, for me, it's a matter of test and learn, you know.
Of course.
So you need to make sure that you have a very nice data, but we also need to make sure that you have a visually consistent campaign, not just about the number, but how we will also grab this data, digest this data, and apply as a learning for the next campaign. So for me, it's always about learning as we go, you know. So for
Of
me, this
course.
is the most important function of ROI. It's not about putting a nice number in a PowerPoint
Of
presentation.
course.
It's about learning ourselves, you know.
Of course. And us at Starfish Agency, actually, we work with different brands in the market to actually tailor influencer strategies to different markets, of course. So, what do you think? How important it is to collaborate with agencies such as Starfish and that have that deep understanding of the market and the regional audiences when running different global campaigns?
I think it's very important to have local partners, especially when you have like this international scope,
Of course.
because you cannot be everywhere
Of course.
at once. So you need to have partners, like local partners, that will understand the reality
Yeah.
of the region and will come with insights.
And of course, at Starfish, we of course value authentic storytelling in influencer marketing campaigns. So, how does Start ensure that influencers will create that content that will align with both the brand's voice and that resonates with their audiences as well?
We need to trust our creators. Of course, as a brand, we know our key messages, we know what we want to communicate, but I personally don't believe in framing too much. I think, of course, when we are briefing a campaign, for instance, we're giving them like hot topics to mention, ingredients that we want them to leverage, or application technique, for
Of
instance.
course.
But truly, the brand and the product has to be in their voice.
Yeah.
That's why we are partnering with them,
Exactly. They
right?
know their audience better, so better way of them creating the content, I don't think there is. Specifically, that's why they need to have this freedom of creating the content as
Exactly,
well.
exactly.
Okay, looking forward, where do you see the influencer marketing evolving in the next, let's say, 2 to 3 years for the beauty brands in the region? Or not only, internationally as well?
We are human beings. We are social.
Yeah,
We like to connect one with others. So when I see like a perspective in terms of social networks, for instance, I really think that in the coming years we'll have more platforms, we'll have more tools. I feel that we are, as brands, we are even more mindful about how to integrate all these touch points.
So let's say if a brand is watching us right now, what advice would you give to brands that are looking to elevate their influencer marketing campaigns and to elevate their strategy as well in today's fast-paced technology and digital world, of course?
One, know your differentiation. Now, what makes you unique? Second, play authenticity, because people know what is fake, people know what is real, and 90% of the trends, 95%, if I may, they of these trends, they came from something authentic, from something real. So that would be my advice.
I appreciate that. And let's say some personal insights as well. Do you have a favorite influencer collaboration that you have collaborated with and was memorable for you?
There was a very nice activation that I've done in the past. It was a digital cover in partnership with Vogue Brazil, and we shoot in the desert in
Okay,
Marrakesh.
nice.
So I would say it was bold because the setup was completely new. I have done shootings by the beach, during the day, during the night, in
Yeah.
studio, in the desert. But the desert for me was the most different and challenging and remarkable also, because as we are saying, we were able to build this 360. So we were there in Marrakesh producing content, but we also had this partnership with Vogue. So we kind of integrated press somehow. So yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Marcello, for sharing your insights with us. It was truly amazing to hear about how Tarte Cosmetics approaches the influencer marketing, PR, and digital space as well. Thank you again for tuning in to the Influencer Insider at Starfish Agency. Of course, stay connected with us for more insights for the market and the influencer marketing strategies as well.
Thanks so much for having me again, Anna. It was a pleasure. I appreciate.
Also here.
And for our audience, stay tuned because I'm sure there are a lot of nice contents coming up.
Until next time,
Bye.
bye.